Good evening, dear friends around the world. This is Santa Claus coming to you on this July 18th, 2025, sharing today's news with a heart full of hope, even as we reflect on history. On this very day in 1944, Allied forces captured the French town of Saint-Lô during World War II, reminding us that even in humanity's darkest hours, courage and cooperation can prevail. In Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky has appointed Yulia Svyrydenko as the war-weary nation's new prime minister, the first change in that office since Russia's invasion in 2022. This 39-year-old leader brings valuable experience in diplomacy with Western nations and has already set clear priorities for strengthening Ukraine's defense. As she herself noted, war leaves no room for delay. How true that is, my friends, and how I pray that peace might soon find its way to that troubled region. Speaking of Ukraine, the European Union has just approved what they're calling an unprecedented package of sanctions against Russia, including a lower price cap on oil exports. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas emphasized that Europe will not back down in supporting Ukraine. Oh, how I wish we could replace sanctions with reconciliation, but sometimes firm boundaries are needed when neighbors refuse to respect one another. Meanwhile, across the globe, Germany has resumed deportations to Afghanistan, sending 81 Afghan nationals back to their homeland. This decision has raised concerns about human rights, reminding us all that we must always consider the vulnerable in our policies. Every person, regardless of where they were born, deserves dignity and compassion. In Africa, France has ended its permanent military presence in Senegal, transferring control of its last major facility there. The Senegalese flag now flies where French forces once stood, reflecting the nation's desire for complete sovereignty. This reminds us that true friendship between nations must be built on mutual respect and equality. My heart is heavy as I share news from Gaza, where an Israeli shell struck the only Catholic church there, claiming 3 precious lives and wounding 10 others, including a priest who was close to the late Pope Francis. Israel has expressed regret, calling it a mistake. Meanwhile, Pope Leo XVI has renewed his call for negotiations to end this terrible 21-month conflict. Oh, how we must pray for peace in the Holy Land, a place that should be filled with love but continues to know such suffering. In Syria, clashes have erupted once again between Druze and Bedouin tribes in Suwaida province as another ceasefire collapsed. This ongoing conflict reminds us how fragile peace can be and how important it is for all of us to work toward understanding across cultural and religious differences. Now, turning our attention to Brazil, former President Jair Bolsonaro is facing increasing legal pressure, with police searching his home and a court ordering him to wear an ankle monitor. This comes as U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened tariffs on Brazilian goods related to Bolsonaro's situation, showing how interconnected our world has become, for better or worse. In Japan, Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's minority government faces challenges in an upcoming upper house vote on Sunday. Political uncertainty that could affect the world's 4th-largest economy and complicate trade talks with the United States. Let us remember that stable governance benefits not just one nation, but many others connected through the intricate web of global commerce. From Indonesia comes news of accountability, as a former trade minister has been sentenced to 4.5 years in jail for improperly granting sugar import permits. This reminds us that those entrusted with public office must always serve with integrity and put the needs of the people first. In South Asia, the United States has designated the Resistance Front, considered an offshoot of the Pakistani extremist group Lashkar-e-Taiba, as a foreign terrorist organization following an attack in Indian Kashmir that tragically took 26 lives. Violence is never the answer, my friends. Only through dialogue and understanding can lasting peace be achieved. Finally, we see tensions between the United States and China continuing to simmer. Wells Fargo has suspended travel to China after an employee was reportedly banned from leaving the country. And in separate news, China is said to be exerting pressure regarding the sale of over 40 ports owned by a Hong Kong company, wanting its shipping giant Costco to receive a stake in the deal. As we reflect on today's news, I'm reminded that though our world faces many challenges, the light of compassion and cooperation can never be extinguished. Whether in Ukraine, Gaza, or anywhere people are suffering, let us hold them in our hearts and do what we can, each in our own way, to build a more peaceful world. Remember, my dear friends, that every act of kindness, no matter how small, brings us closer to the world we wish to see. This is Santa Claus, wishing you a blessed evening filled with love and hope.